Hello, hello, lovely, and welcome to another episode of Loving Life with Court. Today we are talking about a life that is loved should not be consumed by food. Holidays are approaching, the times where it's more than okay to indulge in your favorite treats and your favorite family dinners and all of that fun stuff. But today I want to talk about something that I have just been really struggling with. And I would say it's been the past year. It's something that I struggle with in the closet. I don't like sharing it with people because I'm really ashamed about it. And I do want to say that if you have difficulties with talking about or listening to anything related to disordered eating, if this is a big trigger for you, I would suggest that you go listen to a different episode of mine. But if this is something that really resonates with you, stay tuned, because what I'm going to be diving into today is how I am learning to shift my focus in terms of the relationship that I share with food and getting away from this idea of healing my relationship with food, which I will get into shortly. 2 nights ago, I had a slip up. I ate 3 ice cream bars. I had chocolate. I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I just really overate. I overate to the point that I felt sick at the end. And it had been quite a while that I have overeaten to this extent. I didn't eat that day because I was excited to eat, but because I was craving these certain foods, because I just really thought that these foods would taste good. But I ate those 3 ice cream bars because I couldn't stop thinking about them until they were out of my house. And by the end of the night, this was on Tuesday night, by the end of the night, I felt so shameful, disgusted by myself. I was beating myself up. I was really struggling with changing my self-talk. And the reality is that even after a significant weight loss, I've lost almost 100 pounds, and then I put on 15 pounds, and I'm still working back towards that last 15 pounds that I'd like to lose. I have had multiple attempts on healing my relationship with food, and what this all comes down to is you can lose so much weight. You can gain weight, you can maintain weight, but until you get to the root cause of what your relationship with food is, none of it really matters, because it's constantly this fight and this battle. And if you can relate to this, stay tuned, because I'm going to share some aha moments that I've had. But honestly, it's hard. It really sucks. I battle with my relationship with food every day, and it breaks my heart that I don't go a day without thinking about my weight, without wanting to weigh myself, without thinking about how can I get that number lower the next day, thinking about my food consumption, my caloric intake. I have never, my entire life, from as young as I can remember, because I've always struggled with weight, I have not gone one day without thinking about my physical appearance, my weight, how much food I'm eating. And I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want food to consume my life any longer. Now, if this is something that's really resonating with you, let's dissect this together. So if I said, which is typically how I'll respond to situations like this, if I said, today's the last day I'm ever going to think about my weight, I'm ever going to worry about this, this, and that, I'm never going to overeat again. If I said that, it just wouldn't be true. Because when we get to these low points, we want to make a big change. But what we fail to recognize is that it all stems down to our little habits that we have every day, and really the basics of how we can heal and move forward, which I'll get to in a moment. But saying that I'm never going to do this again is just not realistic. So what I'm going to do, and what I encourage you to do, is to just start small. Tuesday night, that has been such a significant shift in my perspective, and it just made me realize that I'm tired of living like this. So I'm going to start small and say that Tuesday night, when I ate those 3 ice cream bars, that will be the last time that I ever eat 3 ice cream bars in one sitting. And that's it. I am remembering this moment, and I am not going to do that again. And I'm not going to do that because I'm putting restriction. I'm still going to eat ice cream bars every once in a while. But let's normalize lifestyle changes. Let's normalize not wanting to eat 3 ice cream bars just because we can, or sitting down and eating a full thing of cookies just because we can. And this is not coming from a place of where you have to beat yourself up. It's still important to have self-compassion. But I have made the excuse of intuitive eating and, have compassion for yourself for so long that I am just hurting my body so much, and I'm done with it. I'm over it. So I'm going to tell you how. The realization I've had, how I will never eat 3 ice cream bars in one sitting ever again. The first thing is looking at, why is healing our relationship with food so hard? Obviously, it is deeply tied to our emotions and our beliefs and our habits and even our identity. But it goes even deeper than that with like diet culture and unrealistic standards and comfort eating. It can be things like family patterns and food addiction. The list just goes on and on and on. And I could share with you why I think my relationship with food is hard. But what's important is you recognizing, why is your relationship with food so hard? For me, it goes back all the way to my early childhood, how I've always been dependent on sugar and quick pick-me-uppers. But what is it for you? And really think about it. How early on do I remember having a difficult relationship with food? How early on did this start and why? And really dive into that. Now, most people will say practice self-compassion and cultivate awareness and shift the focus, which are all great things. But for me, it doesn't go deep enough. I need something myself that goes beyond what my mind can do and really shift how I am programmed. And then that goes into intuitive eating. I've done a few episodes on intuitive eating with great guest speakers. And at the time, I think I was in a better headspace to really understand it. But when you have eating disorders that have consumed the majority of your life, intuitive eating is not like the next step. It is so far in the future, where first we need to really heal. We need to go deep down to, what is this relationship that we share with food and why is it so hard? So I'm not going to say that because I get it. I'm not going to say practice self-compassion and just lean into intuitive eating, listen to your body, because I get it. And I also get this urge to make these big changes. We have these slip-ups, and then we go to the grocery store and we buy every single healthy food that we could possibly think of, and half of it goes to waste. Or we sign up for these crazy diets and memberships. But as I mentioned earlier, and this is where I have been really able to go back, and this is a reflection of my own journey, is the big changes are not where the long-term changes last. The big changes are where the small little habits that you have every day cultivate where you are today. So first thing is just going to the basics. And for me, what that looks like is not eating those ice cream bars and the next day going to the gym for 5 hours and then eating only salads and soups and depriving my body and shocking my body. That's not what it looks like, because I am going beyond healing my relationship with food and building a relationship with my body. And the basics for me looks like just moving my body. Whatever that means day to day for me, just intentionally moving my body. And two other things that are very much basics for me that maybe other people don't use is having greens at least in one meal. So I do eat a lot of vegetables, but they vary. And making it a priority for me to have, this week it's broccoli, having broccoli at least once a day and a large amount of it, and using teas to support my hormones. So for me, that's what the basics looks like and starts at, is intentionally moving my body, having more greens in my diet because they fill me up more and they're just a superfood, and also drinking different teas that support my hormones. And for example, like having chamomile at night, which supports your estrogen, or having ginger and turmeric in the morning, which supports your digestive system and prevents like high spikes of glucose and things like that. So those are my 3 basics. And those are the 3 things that connect me back to my body. It can be different for everybody. It can be, doing meditation in the morning and moving your body and having 3 meals a day. Whatever it is, what are the basics for you that you skip most days that get you back into those disordered eating habits? And then after you're able to understand why healing your relationship with food is so hard, get to the basics of things instead of having these big changes. Identify 3 things that you could do every day or every second day that are just the basics, that are things that you skip and don't get back to doing until you have slip-ups. So those 3 basics. And then adopting the idea that instead of healing, and this is where I've had the aha moment, and it happened to me Tuesday night, and I'm changed forever now. Instead of healing your relationship with food, using food to heal. And this changed it for me. This changed the game. I have a completely different approach, and it's only been a few days, and I just know that this is going to stick with me, that I will no longer be focused on healing my relationship with food, and instead I'm going to be using food to heal. And why I'm doing this is because I've come to an understanding that I am not ready to heal anything in my life if my body is still in a damaged state. So how are we expected to heal our relationship with food, learn how to do intuitive eating, build a strong relationship with food just in general, when our body is such in a damaged state that it doesn't even know what a healthy relationship with food looks like? And how am I supposed to be healing things in my life when my body itself, that is responsible to be doing all this healing, is in a damaged state? It is not healed. So first thing that I'm going to be doing is healing my body with food instead of healing my relationship with food. So every time that I have been eating since this incident on Tuesday night, I take a moment before I eat. And this is where, especially if you have binge eating, we're not thinking before we're eating. We're just finding something, consuming it, finding something, consuming it. But I have been actively taking a moment to pause and ask myself before I cook a meal, before I eat something, is this healing my body? And if the answer is no, I'm going to find a way to take the food that I have and heal with it. So, for example, last night I was going to have soup and toast. And I was like, is just having toast healing my body, right? Like, what is it offering me? And I was like, it's not really, it's more taste. Like, I want to dip it into my soup. So instead, I added some mashed chickpeas and some alfalfa sprouts with the toast. And I only had 1 piece of toast instead of 2. And I had my bowl of soup. And that meal felt so healing for me. So it's not just something that I'm eating something that's good for my body, but I'm actively in the moment recognizing how healing this food is for me. So what I encourage you to do, especially if you struggle with binge eating or overeating, if you just have a difficult relationship with food, whatever label you want to put on it, is ask yourself when you're consuming food, is this healing your body? Are you using this food to heal right now? And not being hyper-focused on healing your relationship with food, but using food to heal your body. And when you're able to do that, and this is what I'm now adventuring and learning and on my journey of, is what I believe is when I'm able to heal with food, that will simultaneously heal my relationship with food, because I will no longer see food as something that's damaging to me, and I will have all of the benefits of just eating to heal. So that's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And a friendly reminder to not only be kind to others, but also to your beautiful, amazing self. Don't forget to follow so that you never miss another episode. And I love you all so much. I'll see you in the next episode.